So with this, I'll open up, and you can just pause at different places where you want to look at the code more closely. And this is not yours. This is AP Computer Science. So you start with 2P, I guess. Braces and semicolons practice. The one thing that you may be asked to do then is to put back comments. Put back comments which show where different blocks begin and end with slash, etc. So it would be like this to begin with, and you've got to find where the beginning and ending of the method is, of, for example, a while loop and a for loop. So you'd say start of for, end of for example. And then there may also be a question where things are not lined up properly. And not only have you got to find the beginning and ending of the block, but you've got to tab things over properly. So for example, if you had it at this point, you would have to say, okay, here's an if, there's an open brace, where is its closed brace? There, so all these, I gotta make sure I do this correctly, down to line 212, so everything down to line 212 gets tabbed in once. And then here, these two lines get tabbed in, and so on. On to 3P. This was where we worked with lots of different types of data, string, and you can, of course, take a look back at the actual instruction, which will be just before each of the P exercises. So to understand properly how to do 3P, if you don't have it all done, you can look back at 3. But anyway, back to 3P, which it looks like in this particular one I haven't got done. For example, let's print out the result of the addition of 25 plus 2. So that, for example, is not 25 plus 2, because that's just a string. Rather, it's 25 plus 2 will output the result of that expression, which is 27. And maybe one more. Down near the bottom, declare a string variable called my name and assign it your name. And then on the next line, print out that variable. So I'm not printing out John, I'm printing out the variable my name. 4P, user input practice. This is the one where you need to remember how to get this line up there. And the answer is with the B reader shortcut tab. And then you use the BR object to receive stuff from the user. I'll just do this one. I won't do that one. I'll do this easy one, which says ask the user for the name, and then you take it in. So you take it in and assign it to a string called username. Is assigned br.readline. And then it says do something with their name, that variable. It's like welcome. And then that variable. And so on. Working with input of not just strings, but also ints and doubles. Remembering that you have to convert them from what's read in, because what's read in is string, but what needs to be received by an int variable is an integer, so you have to convert it and then do something with it. and the for loop. I'll jump straight into practice, and there you go. For loop, the for loop, the for loop. And I'll give you one or maybe two of the basic ones. So we'll take this one for example. It says write a for loop to output hello world 1 up to hello world 100. Okay, for and I sign. First one we want is 1, so let's do our I 1 to begin with. I is less than 101. I plus plus. And what this is asking is to output hello world. Oops. With a space, and then it'll be the variables plus, yeah. And I did say that I will get you to do one more difficult one. This one's not done, so let me do this. This is about as difficult as it's going to get. For loop to output 1,000 down to minus 2,000. So for and I starts at 1,000 all the way down to minus 2,000. So as long as I is greater than minus, we'll just go to 2001. That'll give us minus 2,000. And each time, 100 at a time, so we're going down, so it'll be the I minus equals 100. And we're starting the number only, I. And conditions. And this is where I've got it wiped off the board, but I think it was in block G we did conditions, if else, if else, if else, if, back in one of the other exercises. So you'll find it on your computer in, I think, user input, in fact. I'm not 100% sure, but I think for conditions, and you can take a look, certainly. Take a look whatever you want in this, but this sort of stuff in block G, I believe that we did do in another file up in number 5. But I believe block B that we did it right in 7. So you take a look at 7, one way or another. This is what you're expected to be able to do. An if condition where you have one situation that's either true and stuff happens, and if it's not true, nothing happens. Or an if else where a certain variable is true, and if it's true, a block of code executes. If it's false, another block executes. So if this were true, that's going to print, and that's not. If this is false, this is false, so this won't print. These two lines will print. And then down to doing a situation where there are 3 possible cases. One thing is true, but if it's false, another situation is possibly true. And if it's also false, a third situation is possibly true. So in 7p1, now let's do this one. Looks like these would be a couple of the more challenging questions, but I'll just do this one example, and you can try it yourselves. And basically, you'll be looking to do if, else if with true or false conditions. So back we go to this one, and let me finish it off then. Make a Boolean called isWinter. And declare it to be either true or false. I'm going to say true. And then if it's true that it's winter, output it's winter, so bundle up before you go outside. So if this is true, I sout that. And if it's not true, so else, I sout this. And like I say, certainly want you to prepare, and if you're watching this, you are. But if you get stuck, once or twice you can ask your neighbor, and once or twice you can ask me, so that you can make everything in this short test upcoming work. But certainly the more you look at this, and the more you practice, and the more you study, the easier it's going to be for you to do it all.